Hello and welcome to Mickey Art. My name is Michelle Edhouse and today I am doing a use them up video. Some of you have watched some of my videos in the past where I do the whole painting mugs with this amazing porcelain 150 paint. This paint is a dishwasher safe, once baked porcelain paint, and I've had really good results with it in the past. I really enjoy drinking out of my mugs made with this stuff, and I had a look on the shelf and I'm basically out of everything. So what I thought I'd do is I thought I would do a combo. So we've got a bit of ivory left in both of those bottles. We've got some lapis blue, we've got some opaline pink, we've got some pewter, we've got some sapphire blue, and some ruby red. So I thought what we'll do is we'll just scrape it all into a pot with a bit of silicone. And I've got this mug that we got given as a, promotional mug. It's got a logo on the front, and I'm going to paint over it, make it something that I actually would like to have in my cupboard. I'm not fond of having logoed stuff in my life, so that's what my target is. So the first thing to do is to wipe it down with alcohol and attach it to a base. This time I'm going to be using one of my tins because that gives it nice big solid base. It's got a big solid base, so why not use that to my advantage? So I'm going to get all that done and I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got it all wiped down. I just used isopropyl alcohol. This one I believe is 99%, but anything over 90% is pretty good basically. What I've got on my tin is just a lump of my favourite thing, blue tack. It's poster putty. It's the thing that I use on my stick for holding my cabochons. And it's great in that it just becomes a little something that holds that in place. It's not going to wobble. We're going to have a nice firm hold. But it's also lifting it up off the ground so the paint can drip, 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 drip. I've got it sitting on the bottom of my Lazy Susan so I can spin it around for pouring. And let's have a look. I'm going to use, somebody has suggested in the last video that I probably would have got a better result using my gravy separator jug. So I'm going to give that a go. It's a huge capacity. I mean, this holds 2 cups, 500 mils, 16 ounces, whatever you want to call it. But I don't need anywhere near that much. I only actually need about 40 mil. So when I'm putting my paint in, I'm actually going to sit it right up on the ledge and pour my paint in. So let's see if we can get you to be able to see in there. Maybe not. Where do I need you? There. Alright, let me see if I can get you up there. Alright, so let's go. Let's give this a go. Let's see what we can do. So I always like to start with white at the bottom, just so we've got some white coming out at the end, and I think we might start draining another color as well. Let's put some blue. Now, many of these colors are very, what do you call them? Translucent. And I might speed this up for you. Okay, so I've got quite a bit of paint in there. I haven't used up all of it. I've got more than I thought I had. Cool. I better go and find another mug. But I'm going to get this one going. So let's get you repositioned so that we can see what's happening on the mug. Okay, so as you saw, this mug is a very brand new, shiny, high gloss. And I can hear some of you saying, you need to sand that. You need to give the paint something to bite into. And I agree. So I grabbed some sandpaper and I'm just roughing it up. Just getting some scratch marks on there. I don't know if you can capture that. Just get it so that it is, oh look, I can actually sand off the logo. That's pretty cool. And I'm going to need to wipe it down with alcohol again, aren't I? Get the dust off. Alright. So, let's get some alcohol. Wipe it down again. Now, I know many of you complained last time that I didn't paint the handle, and it's actually a really tricky thing to paint the handles. And if you're using colours that sort of match, and I've got blue in here, I'm actually not gonna paint the handle. I will try and go in between hand so we don't have that strip like last time, but I'm not going to paint the handle. I don't like painting the handle. It's not fun for me. I'm not doing it if it's not fun. Alright, so very first thing I'm going to do is just give it a quick swish over with some of this pewter, just to give it something to run on, if I can get it to come out. It's kind of like doing a, what's that? You know how when we do a acrylic pour on canvas, we put a base coat down so it can run? Just helps the liquid move a little bit more easeful. Now, I've got the sun on my workspace, so I need to be moving quite fast. Just want to make sure that that paint can run. Hey, if some gets on the handles, I don't mind, but I'm not going to intentionally paint them and do fiddly stuff to get them to be covered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour and turn. See how well this jug does. Out you come, paint. Now this paint is quite thick anyway. I use it straight from the bottle. I don't thin it with anything. And if you noticed, what looked like the red container actually came out motley. And that was because the leftovers that I had from the last pours, that whole cup, the 4 mugs, I scraped and tilted and tipped and got all the leftovers. So there's silicone in there. But that's the only silicone I've put into this particular pour. I haven't added silicone to anything else. So any silicone you see will be from that red pot, I think. And as you can see, I'm just going around. Got the white starting to come through now. I found that just dabbing a bit more paint at those points where the paint is going around tends to invite the paint to run down in those areas. And it's quite useful to pick up the bits that have dripped off and use those to dab on, get those areas flowing. And it pays to do this part before your final dribble ring. And the reason for that is that final dribble ring can then push this messy stuff down. A bit more. And off the mug again. Grab some more and just give it something to run. There it goes. How's it looking? Are you liking it? Quite often I actually can't really see what I'm doing on these mugs until I stop and look later. Alright. Just want to see if I can show you. See how translucent that blue is? It's quite cool. Alright, I'm just going to grab my stick and scrape the paint towards the spout. There we go. And I'm going to go back the other way this time. Come on, paint. Out you come. Here it comes. And as less and less paint comes out, you've got to go slower and slower, so you're actually getting paint coming out in all the places. Oh, shaking. Come on, paint. Out you come. Alright. I think we've pretty much got all the paint out of there, which is great. How's it looking? Now, when you're doing 3D objects, I highly recommend making sure that you allow the paint to settle. Kind of notice when it stops running. Not 100% stops moving, because then it would be too late because it would be set. But just keep an eye on it and notice when it kind of stops the large amount of movement before you put your torch on it. The reason for that is if it's still running quite a lot and you torch it and bring up the cells are just going to go bleh, gone, disappeared. They just look like weird streaks. Just going to grab some of this paint and just daub it in underneath there. And one way to be able to tell how well it's stopped running is just to run around and get all your drips off, and then see how quickly the drips form. There's some really seriously pretty bits in this. Alright, so those drips aren't forming very quickly at all at the moment, so I think we're about ready to torch, which is exciting. So when I say torch, what do I mean? So if you are new to acrylic pouring, when you've got silicon and a water-based, silicon's oil, and a water-based paint, you're always going to have silicon rises on water, like oil rises on water, okay? So what the flame torch does is it just warms the paint and brings up, that makes the paint a little bit more fluid, allowing the oil to come up to the surface with more ease. It also pops any air bubbles as well. Now we're not going to touch the paint with the flame. We're just going to keep it moving, warm it slightly, and pop any air bubbles. Wow, there is a lot of silicone in there. Glad I didn't add any more. See all those silicone dots? Wow. Now they're really small because it's obviously been mixed in well. And the exciting thing is discovering what colours get uncovered underneath. Sometimes it goes all the way through to the colour of the pot, or whatever you've poured on, the mug. And sometimes it just uncovers other colours that were in the paint. So I'm going to put this aside and we'll have a look and see if there's anything in the drip off that is interesting. This is going to be a very busy cup. What do you reckon? Alright, the other bonus of having the handles not painted is you can just pick it up. Eek, come on. And move it. Super easy. So we'll leave that just there so you guys can watch the cells deforming and twisting as they continue to slide down. You don't need to tilt it, it's already tilted on a 90-degree angle. Alright, let's have a look and see what we've got in here. Alright, I'm going to put the overhead camera on for you and we'll see what else is possible. Okay, let's have a look. So, oops, sorry. What this paint reminds me of is lapis. And I love lapis. Oddly enough, seen as one of the paint colours is lapis. But the cool thing about having put the pewter in there is we've got a sparkly, shiny, gleamy kind of look to it. And one thing I've been wanting to make for myself is a necklace. And so because this paint is one that when it's been left for a long time, it becomes basically waterproof. It doesn't need sealing on the back of it. So the cool thing about that is you can, or what I can do is I can make these cabochons, and they become a basically finished product, and I can just glue some bales on and put some chain between them and make a necklace. Yay! So I'm going to go around and I'm actually going to use this shape. I bought a bag of 100 of these things and then realized that they were not the same size as the standard water droplet, tear droplet bases you can get. So using this paint is ideal to use these up and not have to have bases for them. So I'm going to do that. Now, I just realized that I took the blue tack off my dipping stick to put my mug onto its cup. So I need some new blue tack. This is the one that I use. It's the one that is the most available here in New Zealand. And but I'll put a link in the description, hopefully, if I remember. I'm not very good at remembering things like that. To both the gravy separator jug and to blue tack, also to this paint. It'll all be on Amazon. Amazon has an affiliate system where anything you buy after clicking one of my links, I get 4%. You don't pay any more. It's like paying an advertiser for advertising for them. So if you use my links, I'm very grateful. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to get as many of these cabochons with this paint as I can, and let's see how many I get to play with in my future necklace. Just make sure that all the bottom is covered. That's pretty. The pink's probably not very lapis-ish, but that's okay. I'm good with that. It's homemade lapis, that's what it is. Just dipping in, making sure everything's got some paint on it. Clean off those edges. And then take it off. And then set them paint up to dry. Very easy. I'm just going to go around polish the bottom first. Anything that's on the glass when you dip it in stays on the glass and you can't get it off without pulling the paint off, so always pays to see. Look, I missed a bit. Can you see? Just going to redip that side. It still came up all right. Okay, polish. And dip. Peel. That's 5. We're doing well. Let's come around and get some of this pinker stuff. Might get enough to do a pair of earrings to go with it. How does it get any better than that? Yay! There only needs to be enough pressure to actually, I really like that one, for the paint to touch the glass, because paint and glass like each other. They kiss, they hold on to their kisses. They don't peel off very easily when they're wet. When they're dry, different story. These are some beautiful pieces. I am looking forward to making a necklace with these and wearing it. Right. Oops, missed a bit. So that I've gone right round, I've dipped in as much as I can. I'm just going to use the torch and see if there's anything else that comes up. Because as you can see, it's pretty mushy. Let me zoom back out a little bit so you can see the whole thing. No, all I've done is created a skin. Look, so you get too close and you start to make a skin on the paint. Not desirable. No, gonna leave it at that. Let's tilt you over and show you what the mug's looking like. Hee! That is funky. Alright, so I'm going to leave all of this to dry and I will be back to show you the dry results in 3, 2, 1. Ta-da! Look at this. Isn't it pretty? I like it. So very little of the pink has actually come through. Very little of the red has come through. There are, if I can get it to focus, small spots of colour that just break the blue, which is great. The ivory is highlighting those cells. Really yummy. I like it. I'll be happy to have that in my coffee cup selection. It's fun. Awesome. Alright, so let's have a look at these cabochons as well. Kind of laid them out sort of a bit like how I imagine them being as a... Sorry, it's not quite centered right for the camera, but that's okay. You get the general gist. That's kind of how I'm seeing them hanging. I have a chat to my jeweler friend about what's the best way to do that. But I like them. Let me show you around. So they really do kind of have that lapis feel to them. Why is it? Come on. So, yep, they are cool. Quite like that one. That one's why it's sort of a center stage. And this one here, I don't so much like it, but it's the most unusual of the lot, which is why it's got the drop position. It's pretty, and it's different to the rest of them. The rest of them are all quite swirlicious, and that one's quite spirally. I do like this one a lot though. So this paint, if you leave it alone for 72 hours, it should be hand washable. If you bake it, it's dishwasher safe. Now, when I say it's dishwasher safe, we've been using ours for quite a while now, and they do eventually flake off. And how much of that is to do with the fact that the paint has been slightly modified with the silicone being added. So I'm not saying it's the paint's fault that it's not dishwasher safe. It's definitely, I would say, got a lot to do with me putting silicone in, which is not how the manufacturers originally designed it to be. So there you go. Can you imagine that hanging around my neck? I think I can. I've got one left over, and I'm not so fond of this one. It's got a big blue blip in the bottom. Whoops. So I think the hand washable without baking is probably going to be what I do with the cabochons. I have baked some of them in the past, and they tended to bubble. And I think that was where we had the silicone, and the silicone decided it wanted to bubble off the glass. So I'm not going to bake these. I'll bake the mug, definitely. Done that before, no problems. Happy enough to do that. But I'm not going to bake these because I haven't had a high enough result with those. And hey, you know, I don't go in swimming pools with jewelry that looks like this. I might do on just a simple chain or something, but nothing like this would go in the pool, in the spa. So I will leave that be. So there you go, guys. I have had super fun with this project. Got another pretty mug to have in my kitchen for my coffee. And what else is possible? How much more fun can I have? And who or what else can I paint? I adore you all. So glad that you came to play with me for this video. If you're interested in joining me for live streams, sign up on my email list. It really is just an email list to tell you when I'm going live. But if you sign up at this URL, you'll get 24 hours notice of when I'm going live, and that will be sometime this coming week. So be prepared. The other thing is, if you are having fun with some acrylic pouring, come join us in the Acrylic Pouring for Fun Facebook group. And what else is possible? I adore you. Have fun. See you soon. Bye-bye.